Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and I was playing around in the shop today, and I had a piece of log, and I thought, I'm going to show how to make, now I contoured a bunch of lines inside, but I only needed the outside line. And you're working with a shape that's not square, not even round, but you could move that shape, take it out to your laser. See what my nudge distance, let's set my nudge distance 0.101. Let's grab that shape and let's nudge it up. And you can see my line contours perfectly almost around that shape. Well, how did I get there? I have a picture taken by a large format camera, and it's huge. It's 75 by 50 inches. So with it selected, grab your crop tool and crop this picture. Now there's a macro that will do this, but this is free inside of Corel. And you notice I said have it selected. So that every other thing will not go away. Now we can zoom in, grab our crop tool back, nudge these a little bit. You want it perfect. If you're gonna work on something that needs precision, you need to be dead on because we're gonna make a measurement. I'm pretty much dead on. So with the crop tool, I'm gonna crop that out. Now I know the distance of this log is 7.25 across. With my ratio locked, I'm gonna make this measurement 7.25. Now my log is the size, my laser bed is thinking that log is the correct size. Well, how did I get that line? Let's change our nudge factor. Let's see this thing, let's make our nudge factor 8 inches. Let's Control D and make a duplicate. Let's convert this to let's resample it first. It's over 300, so that's good. Let's go to bitmap, convert to bitmap. We're gonna use grayscale because there's black and white just won't work. We're gonna go to trace bitmap. Yours is gonna be probably under bitmap, outline, trace, and I use clip art. It says asking to reduce it. I'm gonna let it do some work. It's at 40%. Takes just a second, it's done. And it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna hit okay. I'm gonna nudge that new clip art out of the way. It did really well. This is the line that I want. This is the bark, this is the sapwood, and this is the line I want. It's got some breaks in it, so I'm gonna left click, right click, and I'm gonna fix these breaks. I'm just gonna take my 2-point line, and I'm just gonna close these nodes off. I do not want it to leak. I don't know that it's not gonna leak, so I'm gonna take a rectangle and put it around my item, so if it does leak, it won't leak over the whole page. I'm gonna fill that in, it worked perfectly. I'm gonna nudge it over. I'm gonna nudge it over twice. We do not need this anymore. We're done with this bitmap. We're gonna left click, right click on red. We've got some inner trash, but it's connected. So we're gonna select the whole thing, go up to object and break curve apart. We're gonna take our outer shell and nudge it back over. Look at the trash that's inside there. Stuff you can't even see, we're gonna delete it. We don't need it anymore. Now, if you have X7 or above, you can use the smoothing tool. But we can use the shape tool right here. Grab it, and there's a couple ways we could do this, but we're gonna grab the shape tool and we're gonna delete these nodes, this node, this node, couple more nodes. And when we get to this last two nodes, we're gonna left click and put it to a line. Sorry about that. Put it to a line. Same thing here, delete, delete. Put these to a line. I've got to remember to disconnect my phone when I'm doing a video. Now we can get rid of a lot of these nodes just by selecting them all with the shape tool. You've got to select them all and go up here and let's reduce this by 20%. Now we want to make a duplicate of this. Control D and make a duplicate because we need to look at it later after we smooth it out. And if you're just doing it for a boundary, this will actually work. Your laser is going to not like it. It's going to go over every one of these nodes. So just lightly take your smoothing tool and smooth this out. Try not, see, I smoothed out that corner maybe too much, but that can be repaired. You know, it all depends on what you're doing. If you're going to use it for just an outline, you're done. Now let's nudge it over. And because we nudged it and didn't move it, we're dead on. Now, if you're going to do what I did right in here, and you wanted to follow that line because we smoothed this line out, take your shape tool, select these two nodes and right click and turn them into a cusp. Add a node right there, add a node right there. I moved it a little bit, so I'm going to back up. We're going to select these and we're going to turn them into a cusp. A cusp only allows one handle at a time to move. It doesn't move this other handle. And then just depending on how good you want this, you know, you can move this stuff around. But if you're doing just to make sure you get it in the picture, that's good to go. Now let's nudge it up. Matter of fact, let's nudge these out of the way. We're basically through with it. Let's hit P, put it in the center of the page. Let's bring in some text. We'll type in epilogue laser. Let's go center justified, and let's hit P. We're a little bit too big. Let's reduce it. Hit P. Still a little bit too big. But what is good about this is pretty much putting it in the center of the page. We're almost the same distances off the edge. I would, you know, the laser doesn't really know that it's a log. It's a weird shape. So you could nudge that over a little bit. But what I like about this, you know your text is going to be inside that red line after you've done a red line test. You could have some other graphics or objects. Let's fill them in with black. And then that way you know your clip art or your object is going to be inside that red line. You could even have one down here. Move this over. And you could run this as center, or you can do this. This picture is square. Let's nudge it up. Well, we kind of messed up here because we changed our nudge factor, but we can hit P, put it in the center of the page, and it worked pretty well. We're going to call that good. We're going to group this together, Control G. We can put it to the top left corner of the laser. See if that works. Just run this hairline with your lid open. If that doesn't work, ungroup it. Take your line and run center if you have center. Once you set your home point about the center, don't move your laser head anymore. Move and run this like at 0 power and 10 speed, and it'll trace that line around that wood. And if it's off a little bit, don't move the laser, move the wood up and down, left and right, and run it again till you're on the dot. Then once you're on the dot, then you can bring your text in and run it, and you feel assured that it's going to be in the center of that log. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.